All right, and we're live. Welcome everybody to Nerdside Champs. And since we won't see you again until after it is 2025, I wanted to start by wishing you all a very happy new year. I hope you have a wonderful 2025. I hope you had a fantastic 2024. And before we also go on, I want to wish everybody a happy Boxing Day for those among us who still observe Boxing Day. If you'll notice, looking at your screen, you'll see that Big Time Timmy Jim is not here. I am your lone nerd champ present for today. Tim is traveling the world doing family things for the holidays, but never fear. I am not here alone. I am joined here today by our friend Jason, who is having some technical problems, but will be here any moment. Again, we're continuing our coverage of the Skeleton Crew, and this is episode 5. Episode 5 entitled. Did I write the title down? I don't know the title. Episode 5. It's I don't know, but anyway, we got episode 5, and we do have a lot of comments locked and loaded. So we're going to start at the top of those. Number 1, Timmy Jim did weigh in, even though he is away. He got us off and started, and he goes, kind of weird how SM33 was all I'll tear you limb from limb last week. And then this week he's like, those were the old captain's orders. No need to obey them. So that kind of gets us off on started. We can start this with kind of a little bit of a recap. We opened this week with away from our intrepid crew, our skeleton crew of Wim, Neil, KB, Fern, and Jodwick, Jananawa, whatever you want to call Jude Law. We start back home at Atten, and on at Atten, the children's parents aren't just fretting and doing nothing. The children's parents are actually trying to plot some type of rescue for their children. The children have crossed the barrier, and they were told that you should just disregard it, and once they cross the barrier, they can't do anything. Let's see what Jason's got going on. Jason, all right, Jason is here. Yeah. So I was just going over what happened this week. So we opened. I was just telling everybody we opened it at Atten, and for those of you that Jason had not started watching until this week. Now you didn't.
It was a speedy catch up, but it was an easy watch. Like, I was so stoked to get a Star Wars thing I liked.
Yeah. It's just so great to get Star Wars that doesn't make you gnash your teeth. You just smile when it's over, and it's fun. So I was saying here's a good thing is a lot of this is going to be fresher for Jason, so you can help me with some of the things that happened in earlier episodes. There's a different experience streaming something or binging something. Binging something is totally different than watching something in 30-minute installments 1 week at a time. It's a different experience. So we can get into that. But I did want to run through what happened. So we open it at Atten, and the kids' parents are trying to put something together. We're on Wim's dad, and he's working in this very important work that everybody's so excited about. And he looks up, and Neil's mom is there. And she gives him some type of hacking device to steal information to get a message past the barrier. And he tries to do it, but immediately gets caught by a droid because there's a power surge. He does the little children's thing where he shows the droid one hand at a time, but that doesn't work. And he's immediately taken to his immediate supervisor, who is Fern's mom. So Fern's mom tells the droid to shut down and erase all memory. Turns out she was not in on this plan, but she's not going to bust Wim's dad. She says, I'm trying to do this through official channels. And it turns out the supervisor, whatever the supervisor is, she doesn't have faith that he's going to do what's right or try to help her at all. And so they're going to proceed with their plan to try to get a message past the barrier. That's when we get back to our crew. They have roped SM33 down, and they're going to turn him back on to try to find the coordinates to Atten. And that's where Tim's comment was saying, like, it was kind of weird that last week he was going to tear them from them, but this week he's like, oh, that's the old captain's orders. I don't have to obey those. But I think there was some dialogue there with KB when they were tying him down, that she had rerouted some circuits and some things with the memory bank that explained, they did some reprogramming while he was shut down that might explain his thing. It was funny that they went to so much trouble to try to secure him, and he didn't care. And then when it was like, well, okay, we'll take it. He doesn't know where At-Aten is. He doesn't have those coordinates, but he does know where they are. And they said, well, take us there. He just like busts the ropes and goes to the thing. What they did absolutely nothing. And they do find out we have a name for our ship, but you can't sell Lego sets of a ship without a name. You got to have a name. You got to name all your ships.
It's not Star Wars if the ship doesn't have a name.
Right. Every ship that you see in every Star Wars movie, every character on the screen, they all have names. Nothing gets no name. So we are on the Onyx Cinder, which was previously captained by the renowned, the notorious Captain Tak Renad, the famous pirate. Yeah. And he was SM-33's previous captain, who famously went missing looking for At-Aten. His ship, his crew, everything, which of course makes sense because we know that his ship was crash landed and marooned on At-Aten for an unspecified period of time. So we're going to go to his hidden, dangerous headquarters on this, secret pirate planet full of danger and bodies. And we're going to go to, what's it called? Skull Ridge Mountain. And SM-33 is talking about all the horrors of Skull Ridge Mountain. And of course, we get there, and it's Star Wars version of hedonism. It's an adult pleasure planet where children aren't allowed, and people do fetish stuff and get renewed in baths. So even though the children are banned, they still have a bunch of Old Republic credits. So Jod, Captain Silva, whatever you want to call him, has the kids cough up all their credits so he can start heavily bribing people to get them a room. SM-33 lets them know that the pirate's hoard, his booty, could not possibly have been discovered because it is deep in the heart of the mountain, and that he marked the entrance with his symbol, and he shows them the symbol. So, of course, they all split up to go looking for the symbol. We have Neil and Fern, right? No, Neil and KB go with Jannah, and Wim and Fern go off alone. They find this symbol down in the spas where there's this huge aquatic creature that we think is going to be a threat, but turns out to just want to hear stories.
Looks awesome, by the way. Like, maybe one of my favorite designs that I've seen in Star Wars in a long time.
Yes. Yeah, he was so cool. He was so intimidating that you turn out he's just this fun character. Go back to Captain Silvo, KB and Neil. The security at the desk when they were checking in, Captain Silvo here, Crimson Jack, we find a new alias. I think it was Dash Zenton, because he runs into a bounty hunter named Pocket, who he is, of course, screwed over, because we have not met anyone that he knows that he is not screwed over. And
I love that every episode has been people just being like, this guy is going to screw you over. And the kids being like, nah, it's all right.
Nah, he seems cool. It's all right. So anyway, they're warned again, but he's telling. Now they're in a hurry. The kids want to hang out, have pillow fights, eat at the buffet, and he's like, "No, we gotta hurry, because she's gonna drop a dime, and those angry pirates are gonna be here any minute." So, in the meantime, she has dropped a dime. The security forces have surrounded Jannah and Neil and KB. KB gets them out of it with some fun hot mud action, and they meet up, and Wim and Fern's new friend busts them through the entrance. They get down. This is where we get the things that Travis and Tim were looking for last week. We get the Goonies, Raiders of the Lost Ark traps. We get the pirate traps going to the booty, which is fun. We get the decapitating laser, which of course the kids are fine with because they're too short and to be worried about. Yeah, we get the acid floor, which you have to make the ultimate sacrifice, which of course to a pirate is not the life of somebody. It's booty, it's gold, treasure. So they threw their last credit in, and that's what gets them in. They get in there, and of course, it's the Cave of Wonders. We're in Aladdin now. You can't touch any of the booty because, of course, it's going to be booby trapped. They get the door closed behind them so the other pirates can't get to him, and they're looking for the captain's logs, his data port. And Neil finds a roast that is not rotten among all the rotten food. It's booby trapped too, but they get around that. Captain Silvo, Jude Law, gets it. The data port comes open. SM3 accesses it, and we have the coordinates to Aten. And we also play the last log entry of Captain Renaud, and we do learn that Aten was the last standing Old Republic mint, and that's why it is the world of lost treasure, because it's where they make the money.
Endless treasure.
Yeah. So, but we do have angry pirates at the door. But at this point, Jude Law tells SM33, "Hey, fill that back up with acid." This is a kid's show, but them pirates were screaming. I don't know if we're supposed to believe that they ran up the steps.
No, they're dead.
They're dead.
Like an 80s kids show. You know, like when you watch the Goonies, like people died in the Goonies.
Right. Yeah. And I was talking about this, and you just watched it all back in episode 2. This is very much an 80s kids show. Like, they get to that pirate planet and there's brothels and people doing drugs, you know?
Well, there's people throwing up because they got too drunk at the bar.
Right.
And have we gotten to the big reveal that what's his face, the pirate whose lair they're in at the end was killed by his mistress?
Yeah, he was killed by his concubine. The kids are like, what's a concubine? He's like, we'll talk about that later.
Great line, by the way. Yeah, great.
Yeah, ask your parents, you know. So at this point, we've gotten the last log. We know that it's the mint. The very importantly, the recording is messed up. Something's corrupted it, and we don't get a good look at Captain Renaud. So we may know who he is. When that's finally revealed, it may be someone that we've seen before. But it is at this point that all that foreshadowing comes to a head, and Jude Law, a.k.a. Crimson Jack, Captain Silvo, Dash Zinton, Jodwick, Zach, whatever, gets his knife, and he turns on him. He challenges Fern to the captaincy through single combat, which is in the pirate code. And when she will not yield, he has to hold a knife to her throat until she yields. And now he is the captain.
Lightsaber scene ever.
Oh yeah, because our hero Wim has decided he's going to stand up to him, and goes. There's a real lightsaber in the Cave of Wonders in this pirate booty, and he's like, "Stop!" And this we learned about Star Wars gun safety. You know, lock up your dangerous weapons from children, folks. It doesn't matter if it's a pistol or if it's a lightsaber, because Wim thinks he's going to defend her with this lightsaber, and of course he has the hilt pointed. He has it pointed at the ground, and he's very lucky to still have all of his toes. Yeah, you know, or he's very lucky that like we didn't have a Rick and Morty moment where it went straight down, and now it's going to barrel through the center of the planet. But
I was worried about that. I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to get corny now. And when it bounced, I was like, oh, this is awesome. I love this show.
Yeah. So it futzes out and he drops it. And now the kids, though, in the distraction, he lets go of Fern. And Neil remembers that there was a trap door with that roast that revealed the data port. And they all get on the trap door and hit the button and fall through the floor. At this point, Jana or whatever, he grabs the lightsaber with the force, and we hear it ignite. We don't see it ignite, but we hear it. And he is wielding, and then we go to black. We go to the end. The one thing I did miss, at one point, Wim finally breaks down, and we get some interesting dialogue. Let's see what we got in the comments here. Starting with Barry Allen is slow. Jude Law in the most unsurprising heel turn since Jeff Bridges in Iron Man. Yeah.
It's up there.
Mean, everybody who has ever met him tells these kids,
he's going to mess you over.
Yeah, we got Kim, Mrs. Al, We had Pocket here. We've had everybody telling you, like, don't trust this guy. But of course, they're forced to keep rolling with him. But no, that is not. And here's the thing, though, he does make her yield. His eyes get super excited when he finds out it's the Mint. But he doesn't want to commit violence against these kids. You know what I'm saying? He hasn't gone. What's that?
I have a theory why that is, but
yeah. Let's see. Jon Snow knows nothing. The Spa Planet was a super weird setting, especially considering it was supposedly inhabited by pirates not too long before this. Now, here's the thing. We don't know how long it's been. Because
it's obviously been a while because they built a spa on top of it.
Yeah. Yeah, we have no clue how long. Go ahead.
That ship has been buried in or however you say it.
Atten, yeah.
For a while because it was like covered in dirt.
Yeah, like whole forests had grown on top of it with trees. You know, so we really have no clue how long the Onyx Cinder has been there. How long? Well, this captain has passed on into legend.
Yeah,
you know, because our Captain Silver was like, oh, that's the legendary pirate, and of course, like in Star Wars, this is to me this is perfect. I like it because we know it was a long time ago, but we don't know exactly how long ago. We just know just like when you watch the original trilogy, you knew the Jedi stuff was like it was a while back, you know, but you don't know how far back. And when you find out it was only like about 17, 18 years, that's not as cool as what you imagined, you know?
No, not at all. Yeah.
So this one, you know, it's pretty cool. And I thought the spa was funny.
Also,
you know,
kind of a reference to Darth Plagueis. Yeah. There was a reference to him.
I missed it. He was at the Spa Planet, or
yeah, supposedly like the money makers or whatever.
Yeah.
From that were in the mud spa. That's what he was. He was that race or whatever.
Oh yeah, they were all tall and spindly. Yeah,
and then there was Sith hieroglyphics on the cave. So,
yeah. And then I enjoy now. We did talk about how in episode 1 and 2 they had quite a few practical effects of creatures as opposed to CG. They've kind of abandoned that and went to the CG.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, and the CG doesn't look great. I do not like CG Hutts.
No.
Jabba the Hutt in Return of the Jedi showed you what a Hutt should and look like, and it was totally convincing. It was absolutely a puppet, but I understand that's expensive. But I did still, even though it looked like a cartoon, I enjoyed the Hutt that ate the servant that brought him a snack instead of the snack. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, I started to get iffy. I don't like the idea of the Hutts being involved at all. Like I was like, let's just have a story independent of every character that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
They did for the most part. Like the fact that there's a space werewolf in this is we've made it. Like I was like, just don't connect it.
Yeah. and then for those of us that don't know, me and Tim know Jason through Jonathan. Jonathan did our week 1 and 2 review. And we tease him that the werewolf is his favorite character because he hated the werewolf. He thought that the mask looked cheap. He's deeply committed to CG and things that look like cartoons. Yeah. So yeah, he hated that character. So it's great that you called it out as cool because I think he's cool.
Oh yeah, he's super cool. He's a space werewolf.
Right. And that species, it was in the original cut of Star Wars. Not A New Hope. I'm talking before they called it A New Hope, when it was just called Star Wars. The original cantina scene, basically they raided the creature effects warehouse and just put everything in the cantina because they didn't have budget for a whole bunch of other new stuff. And as soon as they started making special editions is when George took him out, and he's never been back. But we got him back. So now Barry Allen is slow. He says Pocket is definitely going to be trouble later in the series. and we are going to hear a lot more about what happened between her and Crimson Jack, or whatever his name is.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to see more of her. She's I recognize her voice. I don't know what else she was in because I didn't take the time to look it up. I watched the episode today, but she was a fun character. I liked her.
I like this kind of underground world where we don't know everything, but we know people are connected.
Yes.
The Pirates of the Caribbean movies did that.
Yeah.
And that was like my favorite part, was like there's this world that we don't quite understand, which, is kind of what this entire episode was about, was the fact that like you think you get it, but you don't really get it.
Right. And that's like, me and Jason agree on this a lot. The less you know, the better on some of this stuff. Exactly. And as you unlock the mysteries, it becomes, if you got something like Wolverine, someone like Boba Fett, the mystery is baked into the appeal of that character. And the more you take it away, you just diminish the character.
That being said, who do you think the supervisor is?
I'm thinking that we're going to find out that the supervisor is a droid. I think I think we're going to do a Star Trek trope, and we've got a planet being read by a power mad computer. What's your theory on the supervisor?
I don't think there is one. I think it's all bureaucracy. I think, and I think Fern's mom knows more than what she's saying.
So they're just running on regulations, and there's really nobody at the top, and that would make sense because they're still minting money for a government that hasn't existed at this point for probably well over 20 years. Because this happens. What's that?
And it's just like, if you look at the first episode where they're getting ready to like rate them where they go, like what they're going to be for the rest of their life and their careers, I was like, man, that's awful bureaucratic.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the big twist is that there's no supervisor and everyone is just kind of doing their own thing. And that's how the ship could have been there for decades and nobody know it.
Because everybody's just dutifully following the regulations and doing their boring stuff. Nobody looks up. And I did the first episode, the droid was speaking like it was so nothing that it was almost Charlie Brown. You were almost getting wah 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 wah. But I was like, maybe the droid just said something important when they were at school. And I went back, and that droid was talking about monitoring exchange rates and currency exchanges. So that makes sense that this is a mint, and that's what's going on to that planet because they're obsessed with currency. What's our next comment? Tim's back. He goes, will we ever find out Jude Law's real name, or will it just be a string of burned aliases?
I have a theory about Jude Law too.
Okay. What's your theory?
I think he's one of the children that survived Anakin going crazy.
All right. So yeah, going back, I did kind of skip over the discussion that he had with Wynn on the ship, because in the ship, once they decide that they're going to Skull Island, Wim goes off to himself and finally has a breakdown. He's been trying to have a fun adventure like this as an amusement park ride the whole time. I think the gravity of the fact that this is actually, and I might die and I might never see my father or my home again, it finally hits him, and he's crying. And what Wim says to comfort him, because he says, you'll see him again. He goes, not my mom. Wim sits down and says, you need to forget about your home planet. You need to forget about your parents. These are what we call attachments, and attachments hold you back. And that is some Jedi. That is some Jedi philosophy right there. This is what the Jedi tell people. And then the last thing he tells them is your focus determines your reality. And I read something that is a direct quote of something that Qui-Gon said in Phantom Menace to Anakin. He said that exact thing. So
I think he survived the Anakin massacre is what I think.
Yeah, he was a youngling. He had some level of training. And the thing of it is, if you are a Force user, Force sensitive person in the Imperial time frame, what are you going to do? I mean, you're either going to be a rebel and try to hook up with the rebellion and do that, but it's not big and widespread. It's not easy to find. And if you're jaded and disillusioned, you're not going to do that. You're already a criminal. You are illegal by your very existence. So you might as well join in with criminals, and become a pirate. It's one of the, so yeah, it looks like he's probably going to be a youngling. We'll see how good he is with that lightsaber next week. Barry Allen is slow. Okay, we finally saw one break down. Like it took 5 episodes to figure out shit got real. Yeah. I think maybe it's when they loaded him up with guns and sent him in the front lines. Like, go see if somebody shoots at you last week.
Or it's when they went to the weird P. Diddy Island.
Yeah. Yeah. Now that they're on child molesters, like, you can't bring any of your own children. We charge you for those. That's like bringing your own 6-pack to the bar. They won't let you do it,
And how Goonies was we're going to put on the pirate outfits.
Yeah.
Like, that was so fun. Like, I love everything about this show.
Yeah, we're going to be the sacred elders for a minute. But we're still going to be kids and get in a fight and, like, totally blow the whole thing. Oh, let's see. We got Tim back. So it was indeed confirmed that Anatan was the last remaining Old Republic mint. It's still super weird how droids run the whole planet, but they can be easily overridden by Fern's mom.
Almost like there's nothing actually running the planet.
Yeah. I feel like you might be right. It's just a bunch of it's manned by a bunch of conformist people who are not questioning authority. And so even though there's nothing enforcing it, it just goes on its own momentum, Let's see, what do we got here? Jon Snow knows nothing. This was not a bad episode, but it did give us more questions than answers. And I don't know if they have time to answer those questions in the next 3 episodes.
Oh, I think they're going to set up for season 2.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
this is the first Star Wars show since Mandalorian season 1 that's been positive. Like, I haven't seen any negative about this show.
Yeah. Well, in the comments here, we do get it because DDS is strong. And if you don't know, DDS is Disney Derangement Syndrome. And me and Tim acknowledge, that the big bad mouse has hurt us all and he has touched us in bad places. But that doesn't mean that everything they do is bad and that it can't be, they're incapable of doing something good. And so we have to, when something is good, we have to acknowledge it. We can't just pretend it's as bad. And this is great.
This has been so much fun. It's not connected to really anything. It's its own thing. Like, it's like they listened to what I wanted. Like, none of these kids are Skywalkers. KB is probably one of my favorite new characters that I've seen in not just Star Wars, in anything. Like, she is awesome.
Yeah, she always knows what's going on, but she's not too hyper confident. She was kind of scared to go into the spa this week because she would get corrosion in her implants, which was fun.
That badass visor.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. I think Neil is the first marketable character they have produced since Grogu, since Baby Yoda.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm seeing there's going to be Neil stuffed animals, Neil everything. Now, I've been talking every week, Jason, and I don't know what you think, but you've hit on something I keep saying is that this is a kids show, but it's made for Gen X kids. And I was talking about this with Bone Bridger and Tim. I'm Gen X. I was born in 79. I'm a little older than everybody else, but all of us live in flyover country. So a flyover millennial is pretty much a Gen Xer because we're always a little behind the changes in time. So, these kids have drinking Star Wars hose water. They play outside, they have action figures. They ride speeders, which are kind of like, it would be like having a motorbike, like, or a moped for a kid,
Parents have no idea what their kids are doing 95% of the time. And it's refreshing.
These are latchkey kids. You know what I'm saying? This is E.T. It's the Goonies. It's all those 80s adventures because that was our life in that era. When you grew up in that era, your parents you got off school, your parents didn't go off work for another 2 or 3 hours, maybe 4. And by the time they got home, you weren't there anymore. You had got home from school. You told them you did your homework, and maybe you had, and maybe you hadn't. But you were not at home, and you came home when it got dark, or maybe a little bit after that. They didn't know what you were doing. So
yeah, there was no cell phones. Nobody was videoing anything.
Right. So I don't know if this generation's kids can relate to these characters. I hope they can.
Well, I think they can because it looks like what Star Wars did. I was thinking about this in the car today. They just basically took Stranger Things, kind of mixed it up just a little bit, and then put it out. And Stranger Things is extremely popular. So
yeah. So hopefully this finds a big audience. And I think that it's okay if we don't answer all the questions. Like, even if we get a season 2, I like mystery. I like mysteries that we know. It gives us this sense of having this big universe to explore. And like sometimes questions get arisen and we don't even answer those. We just leave them there and we go somewhere else in the universe because it creates this sense of scale. So Barry and Alice Slow, whoever had the OU on over under on Jude Law picking up a lightsaber by episode 5 just won the pool.
Oh yeah, you knew that lightsaber was coming from like the first episode where where like he had the toy one and they were playing and which how great is that scene, by the way? I know we're talking about episode 1. But like I was in when they like the bus comes by them and the other kids are like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
Like I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is made for me."
This is perfect. They're into this and it makes them weird. And it is so, again, it is so Gen X. It is so cool. I don't think kids today even ostracize other kids about me. I don't know. Maybe I watch too much of the news. Maybe kids are still kids. But it was just great. Let's see. On an unrelated note, I agree with your recent conclusion that Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
1000%.
Yes. Jason, and we should have done this. We should have had Jason on to have the fight because he would have brought more passion than Tim. I think Tim did a good job, but Jason. But hey, you know what I just saw? It was on Facebook. And I don't know if this one counts. Die Hard definitely counts, but somebody posted First Blood is a Christmas movie.
That one, I've seen that one. It's not integral to the plot of it being a Christmas movie.
Right. He's passing through town. It could be any time of year.
Yeah, exactly. Like Die Hard, I disagreed with the guy with the awesome background. If you take Die Hard out of Christmas, like make it at a different time of year, it makes no sense at all.
Yeah. Like why is he coming? Why is it so important that he gets back together with family at the same time that the business is closing this huge deal? But all of these monumental things do happen at the end of the year and at Christmas time. So it just plus the soundtrack. First Blood doesn't have any Christmas songs in the soundtrack. It's just got the score. So now we've got Tim. How callous is Jude Law's character? He was just like drown all those guys in acid.
Well, no, look, dude, if he is what I think he is, I think he's been through a lot. So yeah, he is very callous.
Yeah. He's the kind of. I mean, he's survived. If he's a youngling,
he survived Anakin.
Yeah, he watched other kids getting slaughtered left and right. He might have had to play dead in the bottom of a heap of his dying friends to be alive today. So
I don't know if they'll go that dark, but if I was directing, I would.
Yeah. And like, I mean, these guys locked him up. He was their captain. And they committed mutiny. They locked him up. I mean, maybe he just figures they get what they get,
Yeah.
But hey,
they were getting ready to kill him. Like that. They say that in the cell. He's like, your trial is coming up, which is odd that pirates do trials. But,
Yeah. So, and he didn't kill Fern. So, I mean, hey, I mean, he could have definitely killed Fern,
Oh,
but
he's gonna Jack Sparrow it. Like he's gonna be redeemable by the end of it.
yeah, yeah. This is like I've said, he's got strong Han Solo energy.
Mm-hmm.
By the end, he could be a hero.
Oh, definitely. He's turning face. Like that's happening.
So, let me ask, having within now, when did you start watching? Did you watch them some today and some yesterday?
I watched all of it today.
All straight through. So, watching it in one setting, some of the things that people like Tim and Travis, I think Jonathan mentioned it, Bonebridger mentioned it, because Jonathan was here for 1 and 2. Bonebridger dropped in for episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
We had Tim's college roommate Travis last week, and episode 1, Jonathan felt like it was a little slow, but he loved episode 2 because it was right out there, and that hooked him a little better. But then 3 and 4, we were getting the impression that they were a little slow,
Mm-hmm.
But again, they're only like 25, 30 minutes long. So when you're watching it straight through, does it feel slow, or does it feel just like a chapter that's
It feels like you're reading a book a little bit. And I don't mean that as an insult, but like everything builds perfectly on top of itself.
Yeah.
But I could see like if it were weekly, like now next week, I'm gonna be like, oh, okay, let's get going. I feel like all the way through, it's just like you're reading a book. Like it was a book I couldn't put down. I intended to watch a little bit and then do stuff and then come back, but I just got hooked. And it's like, even though 1 was slow, I'm a big character guy. Like, I need to have characters that I like, which is where some of my arguments come with Jonathan, especially. I mean, a lot of movies. Like, I'm a big character driven guy, and Jonathan is more of an action guy. And I'm not saying he's wrong and I'm right, but
yeah. I feel like I like characters too. Like I haven't said anything, but like I haven't joined into the conversations where people have been saying the episodes were slow. I didn't really feel like any of them were slow to an extent that bothered me at all. I thought the pacing has been good because I like character moments and dialogue.
And the stuff we're getting is good. Like it's not just throwaway. There hasn't been one thing where I'm like, why was that in there?
Yeah. And these characters are they're individuals. It's just not a group of 4 kids with the same personality. You know what I'm saying? They don't just all have a same rubber stamp young kid personality. They all have their own personality, which is cool. And by this episode, we've finally gotten to where I know Bonebridger was wondering if they were going to get some extra development in these characters, because through the first 3, it's coming off that Fern is a little bit too confident. She's a little bit too right all the time, through the first 3 or so. And then Wynn was just a little bit too clueless. He was going through life just a little bit too happy. But by the end of this episode, last week, the gravity finally hit Fern. And she was like, I don't always have the answers. You know what I'm saying? I'm freaking out here. And this week, it finally hit Wynn that like, oh, this is dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
Adventures are not fun, unless you're reading about it or watching it on a show, when it's your life in jeopardy, it's not a good time. So I think by this episode, all these characters have been well established as being very well-rounded, a good group that you can root for. So yeah, I've enjoyed it.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And I don't know. I just really hope it. I know that the viewership, the retention has been good, and it's been gaining ground as opposed to losing it. But I know viewership is a little low. I hope that turns around.
that's troubling because this has been the first thing I've been excited about. Even like Mandalorian, which I liked, didn't get
Yeah.
me as excited as this because the Mandalorian, I didn't feel like there were characters that like I see a little bit of 10-year-old Jason and Wynn.
Yeah.
Like I I see if you would have put 10-year-old Jason in that situation, it would have been a minute before I realized like, oh, I'm in danger.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's good. Like Bonebridger said, could you imagine if Disney had just made like Rogue One and like Mandalorian season 1 and 2, and then this?
Yeah, it would have been incredible.
Yeah, yeah, and then like Andor. Yeah, yeah, and it's just if they would just stay away from the main line. It seems like they just don't know what to do with the mainline characters. They just don't get it. And they want to monkey with it, but if they get away from it, they can make good things.
Because there's good stuff out there. Like that's
Yeah.
like not everything has to be a Skywalker or it doesn't have to be like that. It statistically can't in a universe as big as Star Wars. But,
yeah. Yeah. And I do feel like this was supposed to be a kids show and it didn't involve any of the legacy characters. So I feel like they got a freer hand. Like Kathleen Kennedy was not deeply involved in the development of this, I don't think. I mean, she'll probably claim that she was now that people like it.
Oh yeah, that's coming.
Yeah, but I feel like your quality is totally like it's proportional. It's inversely proportional to how involved she is. If she stays away, good things could be made, Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because like even the story of the Acolyte, Leslie Headland brought her the first draft of it, and like Kathleen Kennedy is like, well, that's a good Star Wars story, but I want you to give me a good Leslie Headland story. And it's like, was the first draft a good Star Wars story? Maybe it was.
I think I made it like 4 episodes in.
Yeah. Yeah. So
space witches.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just like, and how much of that was Kathleen Kennedy demanding that they keep reshaping things and redefining stuff when all you need is a fun adventure story in space, in this setting? You have an aesthetic, and basically all you have to do to make it Star Wars is have this aesthetic, this kind of used universe aesthetic.
And you can throw little like Easter eggs, like the Plagueis, or the Sith hieroglyphics, or like even Jude Law being a survivor of Anakin.
Yeah,
I think that would be fine. It can't be the main crux of the story.
Well, and they've done such a great job with some of the reasons coming in that I was afraid that this might be bad are reasons that I now think it's great. Because you suffered through the holiday special with us.
There was a callback to that.
Yeah. You suffered through that, and you suffered through Battle for Endor with us. And and I thought when I found out that the Hollow Table thing was going to be in this, which I found out before I saw it, when I found out there was going to be a Teak character in it, I was like, oh, this is going to be awful. But the fact that it's throwaway scenes. And they're little Easter eggs for people that have seen this stuff to see and be like, oh, I've seen that. I get that. It makes it so fun.
It really does. Fun is the exact word to put it. I feel like I'm reading a Stephen King novel, not the horror aspect, but definitely like his characters and their dialogue.
Yeah.
It feels like it without anything scary happening or anything supernatural happening.
Well, this is like when we were doing our review of episode 1 and 2, I did a whole list because people always said it's Space Goonies, and it is Goonies. It feels very Goonies, but it's not just Goonies. Goonies was part of a whole series of things that came out in the 80s. And my other examples was Explorers, which I don't know if you know Explorers, but that was in the 80s. They built a spaceship in the backyard and they go to space. And then E.T.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely E.T. with like the group of kids that do things, the latchkey, the divorced parents. And then the other one I came up with, Stand By Me, which
Definitely.
that's a Stephen King short story that movie is based on. And Stephen King, like people always say Spielberg, but Stephen King was great with kids and kid interactions too. Like, you know, these were it was kids, but it was not dumbed down for kids. It was actual kids that were like smart in these stories that you don't see today.
Yeah. And then like so when you jump, I feel like you jump from that to you get I'm drawing a blank. You get kind of in the second episode you go Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
It's not an insult. Like those movies got real cheesy towards the end, but I thought during the whole like lead up, like the first two are brilliant.
Yeah.
And they're just fun. They're swashbuckling fun.
You know, and SM-33 is so fun. You know, he's Treasure Island. Yeah. Yeah, I don't say it's like I mean, this is Long John Silver. This is John Silver in space, and he's a droid with a rodent who lives in his head. You know, the rodent living in his head is
yeah, it popping out of the eyeball.
Yeah,
like, yeah, that's super fun.
I love how Neil took him on the adventure on the pirate thing, and yet the thing found its way home to SM-33's head. You know, that's just perfect. Let's see. Do we have we got Tim again. He said, I almost forgot about the job, or at least a HUD of some kind siding. Personally, didn't care for that. See,
I didn't need him in there.
Yeah, I didn't like the CG because I didn't buy it, but I thought it was funny that he ate the attendant instead of what the attendant brought. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, that was fun, but it would have just been better if it wasn't a HUD.
Yeah. I mean, it is cool to see all new creatures.
Yes, like that water thing. That water thing was dope. With the whiskers and whatnot, that thing was awesome.
Yeah. And here's another thing. He was CG, but if you put a CG character in the dark, it's easier. You can render it and you can sell it. You know, if you put it out in the bright sunlight for the whole world to see, we're going to see every flaw, man. But if you put him in a dark spa cave and you put steam in the room, all of a sudden you could sell it. You can make it work, you know?
Yeah, he looks lit in that.
Yeah. So, yeah. But this show, I mean, nothing's perfect and whatever. Like, you know, the hut could have looked like, but this show is so fun. Yes. If you watch this, it's
that's the way I would describe it.
Yeah. If you watch this and still go away griping about how Disney Star Wars has ruined everything and they can't do anything right, and then I don't know what's wrong with you, man. You know, I mean, yeah, this is what Star Wars should be. This is exactly, I mean, it's high adventure, it's swashbuckling. You know, this is the action sequence at the very top of the series, at the top of season 1 of episode 1.
Yeah,
where Captain Sildo is doing the raid of the ship, and they find the 1 credit and they mutiny on him.
Yeah,
that was the only action in episode 1, but I thought that was some of the best action sequence we've seen from Star Wars in a long time.
Oh yeah, definitely. The bridges being taken down and people like swinging to take the Gatling guns down, like that was super fun.
Yeah, and that was one in our review. Jonathan had to stop me and try to tell me that there was better action in the Acolyte than that raid.
He's out of his mind. He is out of his mind.
Yeah. I mean, it's just it's having understanding. I mean, just because you have a cool fight sequence, that doesn't make it Star Wars. You know, you just having a little bit of cool fight choreography doesn't get it done. Like the fight choreography in the first episode of Acolyte, when she's fighting Carrie-Anne Moss. I mean, if that's in a kung fu movie, fine, you know. Yeah. But you don't do a Star Wars project where a Jedi Master gets stabbed by a dagger. You know, it just negates everything. It just makes it stupid.
All right, I'm going to bring it back to something we've been having a conversation in the group chat.
Okay.
almost like you need heart instead of just really cool visuals.
Yes.
Maybe
I mean,
that's
it's almost like story and character matter a little bit, you know? I mean, almost.
Yeah, it's almost like it's okay to have a little joy in something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a string of heavy metal album covers put together doesn't make for a great movie. You know, that might
Your
be.
Superman can smile, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're Superman, not just as some AI generated thing that you post on Christmas. But in your actual movie, Superman can smile. I know Jonathan is gonna watch this and be super peeved.
Well,
But yeah,
it's a teaser for an upcoming debate we have.
yes, yes. You all need to be ready. We're gonna be shooting it in January. I don't know when it'll drop. But Jason is ready to bring the pain for our pal Jonathan.
I actively called him out and then posted a Stone Cold Steve Austin gif.
Yes. Oh, it's gonna be epic, folks. It's gonna be epic all around. David Cornsweet and the James Gunn Superman and our good friend Jonathan is unfortunately a Snyder bro. Yeah,
He
he is
says
a
he's
Snyder
not
bro.
though.
What's that?
He
Yeah.
swears he's not a Snyder bro.
Oh, he is the most Snyder bro of all Snyder bros. I mean, I don't know. Either that or he needs to have a long discussion with his wife about his crush on Henry Cavill. I don't know. It's one of those.
I think that's part of it. I think that's part of it. Like I don't know.
I don't know. Do you think Cavill's on what's that? Do you think Cavill is on Jonathan's hall pass?
Oh, definitely. 1000%.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, maybe it's not, but again, yeah, we are not Snyder Bros. We are not huge Snyder fans. No.
That's like the first thing. Like we really like. I watched y'all's first debate when you debated Christopher Reeve and Henry Cavill, and I was like, oh, I get along with these guys.
Yeah. Oh, because Jonathan just so love and again, he's so obsessed with visuals, like he's dead. It's visuals all the way. Like the only case he can make for how much he loves the Cavill Superman is like he looks so much like Superman, and it's like, really? That's what you think the most important thing is how much they look like this drawing. You know, that's not the most important thing here. But
yeah, I didn't mean I'm not like I know when we do that debate, the Snyder Bros they'll find it.
yes,
like they're coming.
Oh yeah, they are out there and they are angry and they are hurt and they're lashing out right now because
they're so mad. What?
Yeah, because the world is so in love with this hopeful Superman that it just eats them up inside.
Well,
People what's that?
I read an argument today that no one before James Gunn's Superman argued about movies being comic book accurate. It's just a new argument.
Oh my god! Now
like
somebody needs to tell
never
Tim.
been in a comic book shop because that's all it is.
Oh yeah. Oh god, they've never met Tim Collins. Tim would take a notepad to a movie, and he took. I swear to God, Tim went to the movie theaters with notepads, and he came up with notes on all the things that were wrong. I mean, no, he is still not convinced there's been a good Batman because none of these Batmen are big enough. I don't think he likes the original Spider-Man trilogy because of the organic web shooters. That's beyond the pale for him.
That bothers me. Okay, I get that one.
Yeah, it bothers me. I'm not crazy about it, but Spider-Man 2 is just amazing. You just can't deny that Spider-Man 2 is one of the best.
Yeah, one of the greatest. The sequence where they're going from the train to traffic back to the train.
Yes.
So fun. Like one of the coolest things I've ever seen in a movie.
And just like the way they established that you would hear Doc Ock coming, that the ground would shake.
Yes, that was so fun. Like,
That was
yeah, I like Spider-Man too.
yeah,
The
but
other two I'm not thrilled with, but like I
yeah,
like Spider-Man too. Like I can't.
yeah. So it's like, but comic book accuracy has been so important to everybody from day one, and
Mhm.
I'm not a lore guardian. Tim is a bit of a lore guardian. He's like, oh, you broke this rule, and that's not supposed to work like that. I'm not so big on that. What I'm into is you have to remain true. I know these are adaptations.
Mhm.
I know when you move to another medium, you have to make changes,
Definitely.
but you have to try to encapsulate what is foundational to this character to
Exactly.
interpret. You know what I'm saying? To make it that character,
Mhm.
that's what you have to do. And it's like I had a like in all defense, Jonathan did not enjoy Joker 2
Which I did
or
not.
Joker. He didn't really enjoy it. But I have not seen him. And then I made the argument that Joaquin Phoenix has never played the Joker because that character isn't the Joker.
They do
Because
say that at the end of the
yeah,
spoilers.
yeah, yeah. But even like so, because to me, the foundational core of what is the Joker, like what are the aspects that you need to have to call a character the Joker?
Mhm.
Wears clown makeup, crazy,
Mhm.
fights
Mhm.
Batman.
Mhm.
You need all three.
Yep.
Otherwise, it's not the Joker.
I
I,
agree.
I mean, crazy and wears clown makeup, you might just have Pennywise.
Exactly.
And
Or
Pennywise is not the
Ed
Joker.
Gein.
What's
Not
that?
Ed Gein. Or serial killer
Terrifier?
Gacy with Gacy or Terrifier.
Yeah,
Art the Clown.
yeah. I mean, you got that unless he's fighting Batman, he's not the Joker. But within that, you can have Cesar Romero's Joker. You can have the comic book Joker from The Killing Joke. You can have Heath Ledger's Joker. You can have Jack
Definitely.
Nicholson's Joker. They're
Ron
all
Jared Leto.
hugely different characters. They're not the same character, except that they're crazy. They wear clown makeup and they fight Batman.
Exactly.
If you do those, then you've got the Joker. So
Mm-hmm.
Superman has a few more foundational aspects than the Joker. There's a few more
Yes,
boxes
definitely.
you have. Yeah. He's from Krypton.
Mhm.
He's raised in Kansas. His
By
name
the
is
best of us. That's the important part.
yes.
If
Yeah.
Superman is raised by anybody else,
Yeah.
they are he doesn't turn out right.
Right. Yeah. He is a middle American,
Mhm.
homegrown mom and apple pie,
Mhm.
optimistic, truth, justice, and the American way superhero.
Exactly. Like he has to be that. And for
Yes.
that to work, you cannot have Jonathan Kent suggest that you let a bus full of children drown.
Right. No, no, you can't. That's not the best of us. That's not,
No,
you know, that is like, oh, it might inconvenience you. It might give you a bad time if you don't save this bus full of children, you know? So yeah, that makes Jonathan Kent like 15 rungs lower than Uncle Ben because he doesn't understand that with great power comes great
comes great
responsibility.
responsibility.
Yeah,
Exactly.
if you can, you should. That's the lesson of superheroes. Do
Mhm.
something good, do positive things that are within your power. If
Exactly.
if you're not carrying your message, you're not making heroic fiction.
Exactly. And I've always said, like, you don't have to kill Jonathan Kent. He is alive in the comics and a lot of stuff. But
Yes.
if you kill Jonathan Kent, the only lesson that can be learned from it is sometimes you cannot save everybody.
Yeah.
Like you can't fix everything.
Right.
That's the lesson.
Yeah.
And to carry on the things that he taught you about humanity, like that's the character. And
Right.
when you get Jonathan Kent wrong, you get the whole universe wrong. And I used to argue with Jonathan that the reason the DCU was so messed up is they messed Superman up so bad because everything has to play off of Superman. Like,
yeah. If you get
so
a
like,
dark, somber, brooding Superman, I mean, and then Jonathan tried to just argue with me on Facebook with this Christmas thing that Superman smiled at Man of Steel. And I was like, quit lying, Jonathan. Nobody smiles at Man of Steel. Yeah. The entire runtime, no one smiles, especially the audience. No one smiles at Man of Steel. Everybody's about to cry at any given moment. But
it's such a relentless movie. Like,
yeah. Yeah. But if Superman is dark, brooding, and somber, right? What are you going to do with Batman?
He has to become a murdering maniac who brands people.
Yeah. Yes. He has to go because, I mean, the whole dynamic doesn't work if Batman's not darker than Superman.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now, if your Superman is this dark, brooding character, then yeah, Batman has to be a maniac.
Which he is.
Yeah. He has to burn people in prison and kill people and blow them up and like shoot them with machine guns because
he kills an 18-wheeler driver. That guy was doing nothing.
He's basically the Punisher with a bigger budget. You know, I mean, it's just, and so now your Batman's wrong, your Superman's, there's nowhere to go.
Yeah. Well, and this is a controversial take. Like, I used to be like, when I was a younger man, I was like, yes, I need a rated R Batman, but I don't think I need a rated R Batman anymore because you can have adult stories, but they need to be accessible to it, like kids, because that's who they're for. Like, my daughter, who is 8, she watched Man of Steel with me last year.
Right.
And in the middle of it, she was just like, Dad, I'm tired.
Yeah.
She was like, I don't think Superman would do any of this because she watches Justice League Unlimited.
Yeah. And she's like, this isn't Superman. He's so angry and sad.
Why is he sad? He can fly.
Yeah. And it's just, and that's the thing. That's like what Skeleton Crew is great because it's for kids, but it's not just for kids. Like the main characters are kids, but it's not dumbed down for kids.
No, I mean it's a movie that I'm sorry, my dog's going nuts.
That's all right. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it makes it, you need to be able to appeal to the broadest audience you possibly can. That's why something like Andor, even though it's really good, can't be the future for Star Wars because kids can't watch that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's full of political intrigue and spy drama, and you can have room for that, but that's not going to grow your audience.
No, you need to have kids to fall in love with, I mean, look, Star Wars is very much, the first trilogy is very much for children. Like,
right. Yes. I mean, there's nothing there that would not entertain a kid. There's a little bit of darkness, but not too much. And
yeah, exactly.
Right. And Batman can have all kinds of darkness. Like I was 10 years old. Actually, I think I was 9 because it was Batman 89. And I didn't turn 10 until August of 89. So I'm like 9 years old when I go to see Batman 89.
Yeah.
And it's a very dark movie.
Definitely.
But I enjoyed it. And there was no reason for my parents not to take me to it. Exactly.
Now, my parents were mad. They didn't take me to see 89 in the theater because I was a year old.
Yeah.
But they were not happy when they took me to see Batman Returns.
Yeah. That would they went a little darker, and they had the Penguin was a little bit over the top. Catwoman was definitely a little sexual.
A little.
Kids. But yeah, now you could be dark and you could be serious, but you could still do it in a way that the whole family can enjoy it. You don't have to go. And again, I won't watch The Batman with Robert Pattinson, because to me, yes, Batman is serious. Yes, he's dark. Yes, he's brooding. But you can't just go all the way to where Batman is a kind of inept cop who's not really good at this, but he has a lot of money. You know,
Yeah.
you're going too far when Batman's
Exactly.
not even the smartest guy in the Batman movie, you know?
Penguin is. Like, Penguin calls him dumb in that movie.
Right. And he's right. I mean, from all I understand, the Riddler completely outsmarts him.
Oh,
You
definitely,
know,
the whole time.
yeah. It's basically Seven, but with Batman in it, you know? And in Seven, spoilers for the 20-year-old movie out here, guys, but in Seven, John Doe wins.
Yeah, definitely.
Like he
What's with
dies,
the ball?
but he wins. That's what he wanted to have happen. He
Yeah.
totally outsmarts Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt in that movie. Like he is ahead of them the whole time, you know? And so I think somebody watching it was like, well, what if Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt were Batman and they were just dummies and the bad guy was ahead of Batman the whole time through the whole movie? And then he turns himself in because Batman's a dummy. And there was like, oh,
Batman doesn't catch him.
yeah. Yeah.
After his plan goes to full fruition.
Yeah. 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 What if Batman doesn't actually save the day and the bad guy executes his whole plan? And it's just like, okay, that's a little bit too grounded for my Batman.
Exactly. And I mean, me and Jonathan argued about that because I do love The Dark Knight.
Yes.
But, like, it's not because it's a grounded movie. It's a movie about a guy who dresses up like a bat.
Yeah. Right. I mean, come on, man. It's not completely. I mean, the Joker goes to the hospital after he's put Harvey Dent in the hospital and he's wearing a nurse's mask. And Harvey Dent doesn't realize he's the Joker until he pulls the nurse's the mask down. I mean, come on, people. It's not that grounded. You know? I mean, it's grounded enough. It's the perfect amount for Batman. You know? We don't want to ground it any more or any less. They found the balance. You don't need to play with it anymore. So,
no doubt.
Yeah, I think that James Gunn is going to hit the perfect. I feel like our Batman is going to be a little less grounded because we are getting the whole Bat family, but that could be fun too. I'm ready for.
Yeah, I'm very excited about it. So.
Yeah, I'm ready for Dick Grayson and Damian Wayne and Barbara Gordon. You know, I'm up for it. I'm ready. I think that I was worried that none of it was going to be good, and then I saw a 30-second trailer that convinced me that it was all good, you know?
Oh, the second that trailer came out, I was in the group chat like, this is gonna be incredible.
Yeah. It's just amazing. And like I don't know, man. I just don't understand the hate for the costume because they finally got the colors right. Yeah. And it doesn't look like bondage gear. It looks like clothes.
It's not muted, it's not sad.
Yeah. And all they could do is show you pictures of Cavill and say, look how ripped he is. And it's like, dude, that's a guy in a plastic muscle suit with a giant cod piece on it, man. It looks like BDSM. You know, I mean, he needs a ball gag to complete this ensemble.
So, the second I knew that movie was going to make money, and I think I put this in the group chat because Jonathan was talking about crypto. The second crypto came on the screen, my 8-year-old was with me, went, huh? And I was like, oh, they've got it. Like they've got it locked up.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I was on the fence when I first heard that crypto was going to be in it. I'm like, okay, are they going to go too silly? But you watch that trailer and you watch how he plows through the snow and how he whistled for him. And he's like, and he tells him crypto home. And like, you just love that dog. You just love that dog, man. Everybody's going to like, dog adoptions are going to skyrocket after, you know, I mean, everybody's going to want like a fuzzy terrier mix, you know,
yeah.
you know,
it's gonna be super fun. And yeah, I'm very excited it's good that we're finally getting good stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we went through a lot of not fun. Like the Marvel universe, in my opinion, hasn't been fun since Endgame.
No.
Star Wars, I mean, I've gone back in the past for you guys and watched some less than stellar entries.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, we had the Acolyte, which I hated.
Yeah.
Like it's just been like kind of downward, and all of a sudden you get this new Superman trailer. You've got Superman, or you got the Skeleton Key show, which is fantastic. Like I'm just excited about everything right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not just the quality, it's the fact that it is also uplifting. It's got this adventurous, uplifting tone that like it was out of style, it felt like for a while. Everything was so dour and sad and mopey, and just even the things that were good were kind of
They were
down.
dark. There were things I couldn't watch with my kids.
Right. Right. And now this like we're getting all this good stuff that like is family friendly, it's hopeful, it's aspirational. It feels very hopeful. I hope that other people will see it and learn from it. I hope that like Marvel has the perfect project to capture this tone.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't go for this tone with Fantastic Four, you know,
That's gonna be an issue. Like,
yeah, just pure wholesome goodness without even a wink. You know what I'm saying? Because like Marvel always has a little bit of a sarcastic wink, which has been great and it's super fun. But for Fantastic Four, I think you can leave the sarcasm out of it. You just pure, unadulterated, wholesome goodness. You know, like I feel like we're gonna get with this Superman, like we're getting with Skeleton Crew. You know,
like it feels like I think after COVID, I think people just got to a point where there's just like I'm tired.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Please give me some pure escapism, some pure joyful escapism, please.
Yes, I don't want to get preached to. I just want to watch a Star Wars adventure where people like shoot lasers and have fun. And like at the end, it's probably gonna work out. Like,
Yeah. Just like for 40 minutes a week, can I forget that there are these huge earth-shattering arguments that there are no easy answers to?
Exactly. Like, I think it's just like, man, after hearing about everything horrible in the world and then going and spending $200 on groceries for the week.
Yeah.
I just want to watch like my Superman smile.
Yeah. I want Superman to show me there's a better way. I want him to be happy. Yeah. Oh, but
yeah, this has been fun. I am so glad. Like, I would love to come back and talk about another episode. Like, this has been so fun. I love this Skeleton Crew show. Like,
we have you back next week. Tim will be back, but we like to have 3 people. The invite is always open. So yeah.
And so much fun. Like
yeah, and it's just so great to have, like, I don't know. It's so great to have something that you can speak positively about and like actually tell people, hey, you should watch this. It's good. You know, you could say it's not embarrassing to be a Star Wars fan when they produce stuff like this, you know?
My buddy Seth was like, he picks on me because he's like, do you like anything? And now I'm going to be able to text him and be like, I like this.
Yeah. If you want to know what it is that I like, it's this. Yeah.
Just give me more of this and the Superman trailer.
Yeah. If you go to the movie and it's just 2 hours of that trailer on a loop, it's still going to be fine. It's just all fine. I got John Williams' Superman March on a Top Gun guitar.
Oh. Yeah, that was what sold me. But
yeah.
I realized it really hit me when I showed it to my wife, and she was like, I want to see that. And then my daughter was like, we got to go see that.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm like, they hit it. Like they hit every quadrant except for Jonathan May.
Yeah, except for Jonathan May, because Henry Cavill's not in it, and he has a huge crush on he has a Henry Cavill dummy hidden in his closet at home. I guess I don't know, man. It's not healthy.
It really is.
No. Oh, but I think the Superman trailer is still the biggest news in all of nerd stuff.
Definitely. This
and
Star Wars thing should be there.
Yeah. Yes, it should. Yeah, exactly.
Like we finally got a good one, guys. Like, get into this.
Yeah, please. I know that you've been burned. I know that you don't want to acknowledge the, anything can ever good happen again. But trust me, they
listen, guys. Like, if you don't, they're gonna give us more Acolyte. We don't need that.
Yeah, they'll decide that this was the problem, and not all the other stuff. Oh, so anyway, I think we covered it. Again, where can they find you, Jason?
I'm on Instagram at JasonG413. I also have a podcast called Jason Explains It All. And I sometimes regular a podcast called Your Imaginary Podcast. So I'm all over everywhere.
All right. So find Jason wherever you do your podcast. Find him on Instagram. We're here at Nerd Champs. Like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. And we'll be back next Thursday. Maybe Jason will be back too. Tim will be here.
I will be here, because I'm in now.
Yeah. It's such a, I don't know how anybody could watch this and not be just totally pleased. But until then,
I love it.
We'll see you guys next week.
All right.
Bye.